Good morning, everyone. My name is Natasha Green, and I'm one of the coordinators for today's events, along with Melissa Stretch, Tanya Smith, Brittany Vincent, and Jennifer Chard. We would like to thank you all so much. We would like to thank you all so much for being here to support such a very important cause, Tori's Law. We ask that everyone in attendance today please be respectful of each other and stand together in a peaceful protest and having our voices heard as one. On April 8th, 2009, Victoria was abducted and brutally murdered. Her whereabouts and tiny body were not found until 4 months later on July 21st. On May 20th, Michael Rafferty and Terry Lynn McClintock were charged with the abduction and murder. On May 28th, 2009, McClintock's charges were altered to a first-degree murder charge and an unlawful confinement charge. It was announced that the accused would be tried separately. McClintock was scheduled to make an appearance in court on April 30th, 2010, but a publication ban was imposed by the judge on the events of the day. The publication ban was lifted on December 9th, 2010, revealing that McClintock had pleaded guilty to first-degree murder. She was sentenced to life in prison. McClintock was held at the Grand Valley Institution for Women in Kitchener. In October 2018, McClintock was moved to Okima-Achi Healing Lodge in Saskatchewan. The lodge is a minimum medium security prison, is unfenced and monitored by video surveillance. It is also known that children are often present there, and they've been known to have people escape recently. For those of you that don't know, according to Wikipedia, the definition of a healing lodge is as follows. A healing lodge is a Canadian correctional institution designed to meet the needs of Aboriginal, First Nations, Métis, and Inuit inmates. Healing lodges were created to address the concerns that traditional prisons do not work on Aboriginal offenders. Aboriginals are all overrepresented in the prison system and are more likely to be victims of crime. In healing lodges, the focus is on healing and reconnecting with Indigenous culture, while inmates serve their sentences. Inmates receive programming and services based on Aboriginal values, traditions, and beliefs. They also have access to spiritual guidance and elders and are encouraged to maintain connections with their families and communities. Healing lodges were proposed as an alternative for Aboriginal female offenders. Again, this healing lodge is a minimum medium security facility. As we stand here today asking for a change, Terry Lynn is currently enjoying the lap of luxury. She might be watching TV, taking a nice hike, or perhaps helping in the kitchen to prepare her favorite meal. All things Victoria, her victim, will never get to do again. The question that comes to mind in this is, why is she getting this lap of luxury? Because she may or may not be Aboriginal? A convicted killer is a convicted killer, no matter what their background may be. Healing lodges are to reform people and help reintegrate them into their communities. They are not meant to play host to someone who willingly and premeditated the abduction and murder of an innocent child. We stand together asking for a change to our laws. Tori's Law, also known as Bill C-53, states as follows.
This enactment amends the criminal code to make a life sentence of imprisonment without eligibility for parole mandatory for high treason and for planned and deliberate murderers that are referred to in subsection 231(4), 5, or 6.01 of the Act, or in which the accused behavior associated with the offense is of such brutal nature as to compel the conclusion that the accused behavior in the future is unlikely to be inhibited by normal standards of behavioral restraint. The enactment also amends the criminal code to give a judge the discretion to impose a life sentence of imprisonment without eligibility for parole for any other first-degree murder or any second-degree murder if the accused was previously convicted either of murder or of an offense referred to in Section 4 or 6 of the Crimes Against Humanity and War Crimes Act that had as its basis of intentional killing. The enactment provides that the court's decision is to be based on the accused's age and character, the nature of the offense, the circumstances surrounding its commission, and any jury recommendation. The enactment also amends the Corrections and Conditional Release Act to allow an offender who is sentenced to life without parole to apply for executive release after serving 35 years of their sentence. Executive release is granted or denied by the Governor and Council. Finally, the enactment makes related and consequential amendments to the National Defense Act, the Crimes Against Humanity and War Crimes Act, and the International Transfer of Offenders Act. There is a full printed copy of the bill on the table if you'd like to look at it. Over the next couple hours, we ask that you all be mindful of the language used, and we ask that smoking take place away from the group, just on the sidewalk or across the road. We have a few guest speakers today in no particular order. We will be hearing from our Mayor, Trevor Birch, Sandra Talbot, and Dave McKenzie and Ernie Hardiman. We will also hear from Victoria Stafford's father, Rodney Stafford. Once again, I would like to thank each and every one of you for coming out today and all the support from the local businesses, Long and McQuaid for the PA, Total Rental for the generator, WSC Imaging for the sweaters, and Waters Graphics. We had some stickers made up. They'll be available Monday. We would also like to say thank you to the Woodstock Police Services and Oxford County for letting us gather here today. Everyone in attendance, once again, for showing their support for something that means so much, not just to our small town, but to all Canadians. It's time that we take a stand and make people pay for their crimes in the appropriate manner. Life means life.
At this time, I'm going to ask that Mr. Dave McKenzie come up, and he's going to have a few words to say to our crowd.
First off, thank you all for being here. It means a tremendous amount to Tori's family and friends that people have shown up. And thank you to the people that have organized this. It doesn't just happen, it takes organization. This matter is something that affects all of us. It affects us from deep in the heart. It's our children, our grandchildren, our neighbors, and our friends. And what happened here is a travesty in my mind. There's no doubt in my mind that Corrections Canada have made a mistake. And they need to recognize that mistake. I have been to a healing lodge, and I agree with the concept of the healing lodges for what they were originally set up for. I do not believe they were set up to handle people like Terry Lynn McClintock this early into a life sentence that was 25 years without parole. Not only is she convicted of the murder of Tori Stafford, she brutally assaulted another inmate in the prison that she was in. She has a history of violence, and if you went to the healing lodge and you've seen what was there, that's not an appropriate place for her. Other people in there, I do believe, have some risk of being there. She's not been treated, she's not reformed, she's not healthy. And when you see that the people in Saskatchewan, in that community where the healing lodge is, they were protesting yesterday. And you know, we can all do one thing. Hello, Rodney. Welcome back to Oxford, Rodney.
Thank you. It was a long day yesterday.
Yeah. The one thing that I would ask that you do is don't get mad, don't get angry. Take out your pens and your pencils and write letters to the editor. Write to Liberal members of Parliament. I can tell you the Conservative members of Parliament all feel united in this matter. It's one of my colleagues that's putting forth that amendment to the bill. But write to them and tell them how you feel. Like, write letters to the newspapers, letters to the editor, make it clear that we do not and will not accept this kind of treatment for people that are that brutal in our society. Thank you for being here, and thank you for the support.
All right, thank you, Mr. McKenzie. And next we'll hear from our Mayor, Trevor Birch.
I really wish I did not have to stand here today. Our community has been dealing with this it'll be 10 years come April. This is unacceptable. We are here today where justice was delivered through our court system. And because of the decision by Corrections Canada, justice is no longer being served. As I look out on the crowd and I see all the purple, I see a community that is hurting yet again. As you heard from our MP talk to the parliamentarians that have been refusing to deal with this issue, send them emails, phone their offices, contact Minister Goodall. He's reviewing things right now. Help him, encourage him to encourage his ministry and his colleagues to make the right decision so that justice can be upheld. My heart goes out to everyone in the community that this has impacted. And together, as you stand united, we can make a difference. That's what is great about being here in Canada. The government needs to listen to the people. You do not need to listen to the government when it comes to decisions that have been improperly made. Take your stand, do it peaceably, make sure you share it with your friends and neighbors and get them writing those letters, get them making those phone calls, and continue to wear the purple so that our community can heal yet again. And we want to make sure that this does not happen in other communities. The copy of the bill that's here, take a copy with you, look it over, and again, make sure you encourage others that are making these decisions to make the right decisions so that this type of travesty does not happen again. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's totally different standing up in front of your community than it is a bunch of strangers. Like I've lived and grown up in Woodstock, and I pretty much know a lot of the faces out here, and it's great to see the community out. I was telling a story yesterday on Parliament Hill, just briefly. July 15th, 2000, Victoria was born, and it forever plays in my mind because, you know, it's your child. It comes into the world, you hold it, you know. I was sitting in a chair holding her, and I told her that I would protect her till the day that I died. And you can't understand the pain and hurt that goes through you when you realize that one of your bear cubs has been taken, like one of your children is gone. It's tough to deal with every day. It's sure I might walk up and down Dundas Street with a smile on my face, waving to everybody, yeah, I'm doing great, guys, but you know, in the background, it's killing me. On the inside, it's killing me. But each time I walk past one of you guys and you guys give me support, gives me that much more strength to stand here and do what I want to do. And that's stand up for my daughter. About a month and a half ago, we posted a video regarding this protest in Ottawa. I wasn't expecting the support that I've received and continue to receive. I just wanted to make note that I wasn't happy. Convicted killer was moved somewhere she doesn't belong. And I want to do everything I can to put her back because it's not right. Why should these criminals be able to live a better life than myself, the one going through this issue? I've been trying to explain to a few different people too. I've received some messages where people say, you know, I'm just one voice, what can I do? A month and a half ago, I was one person that read something or was told some information I didn't agree with. I told one person, she told another. A month and a half later, I have a nation of support. It just goes to prove that it just goes to prove that one person can actually make a difference. As long as everybody sticks together and we come together on the same issue, it's clear right across Canada, this isn't right. Terry Lynn's got to go back to max security where she belongs. I wish I had the power to do that right now, but yeah, I didn't really have too much more to say. I wanted to make sure I came out and thank every one of you for being here. I'm sure there's a lot of people that wanted to be here but couldn't make it. But no matter what, I am not going to ever give up on this fight. My little girl, Victoria, deserves so much better, and she deserves justice. Thank you.
Okay, I'd like everybody to list here's Ernie Hardiman. There you go. Sorry.
Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and it's great to see so many here today for this occasion, to send a message to Ottawa that things that are happening today should not be happening. And I'm happy to be here to, on behalf of Premier Ford, to bring, first of all, our thoughts and best wishes to the Stafford family, and particularly Rodney. Premier Ford has talked to him on the phone and left messages since. Yesterday he called my office and wanted me to call you again, and Rodney again, and when I called, there were so many other people calling, there wasn't room on the message machine for that. So we did want to be here today to express our support for the event, and best wishes for everyone, and tell you that we're with you on this one. I do have here some of the quotes that came up in the legislature, and first of all, it was we passed a motion in the legislature supporting this, and our House leader, it's still working? Oh, okay. Our House leader put forward the motion, and my BlackBerry. Speaker, I move that the Legislative Assembly of Ontario should call on the federal government to reverse their decision to transfer Terry Lynn McClintock, who was convicted of the kidnapping, rape, and murder of 8-year-old Victoria Stafford, from the maximum security Grand Valley Institution for Women in Kitchener. It is the pleasure of the House, and the Speaker says, is it the pleasure of the House that the motion carried, and it was unanimous. So the provincial legislature wants that to happen. And for those of you who are not familiar with how the legislature works, when a minister of the Crown wants to get a message out through a question period, what they do is we have what we call friendly questions. So one of your own side asks the question, and then the answer is the message that the minister wants to send out. So we did that in this case, we had one of our members ask, David Patini from Northumberland asked the question. And it says, yesterday, the London Free Press reported that Terry Lynn McClintock, the woman convicted of the kidnapping, rape, and murder of 8-year-old Tori Stafford, a young girl from Woodstock, Ontario, has been transferred from the prison to the Healing Lodge in Saskatchewan. As a member of this government, I am shocked and outraged that such a decision could come from the federal government to release this dangerous individual from prison. It is simply wrong and morally reprehensible. To the Minister, What action will it take to ensure that the decision can be corrected? Now, of course, he has to ask that to the Minister of Community Safety, because this is a community safety issue, and only minister can only answer to that which is questioned. So the minister says, I'd like to thank the member from Northumberland, Peterborough, for the question. This matter came to my attention this morning. As a member of this government, we take the community safety and correctional system seriously, and I'm also shocked and disappointed that such a decision could be made by our federal government. Our government has remained committed to improving our community safety and correction services. Decisions like this by our federal government can seriously impact the public's confidence in our correctional system. Rest assured, Mr. Speaker, I will make sure that we remain in contact with our federal government and also discuss this issue with our Attorney General to ensure that closure can be brought to the family of Tori Stafford and to ensure that justice can be delivered. My ministry will continue to monitor this matter as it unfolds and see what we can do in the unfortunate situation that was created by the federal government and try to correct what has been done. Now, and again, the member then asked the second question, and Mr. Tebow says, Mr. Speaker, I refer the decision this question to the Minister of Agriculture. Now, that's allowed. I'm shocked and saddened. The Minister of Agriculture said, I thank the member for the question. I'm shocked and saddened to hear about the unfortunate moves and change in the direction by the federal government. I would like to express my thoughts, first and foremost, rest with the family of Tori Stafford and the community of Woodstock in my riding. As the member from Oxford, I want to let the member know that I will be writing a letter to the federal government immediately to ask why such a decision could possibly have been made. I'm confident that the Minister of Community Safety and Correctional Services will do everything in his power to encourage the federal government to reverse this decision and bring justice to the family of Tori Stafford. And just to end it all, I'd like to say I have sent the letter and I have yet to receive a reply, but we're hoping to get one of those. And again, I thank you all for being there and keep up the fight.
We'd now like to invite Ms. Sandra Talbot to the microphone.
Thank you so much, and thank you to everyone who came out today to show support for Rodney Stafford and his family over trying to overturn Terry Lynn McClintock's placement into a healing lodge. I brought the wrong set of notes with me, but I'm going to go back to how this all started for me, as I'm sure that there isn't anyone in our community or even in this great country of ours that believes that this person belongs in a healing lodge. The constant pain that her loved ones have endured every day deserves support from us. After reading the statement from our Chief of Police, Bill Renton, who was the lead investigator, you realize how far, you just realize how far the pain stretches and how we've all been affected, and especially those that are involved. I read Bill's statement 3 or 4 times, and I thought about everybody I knew, even the family, and how it affected them. And I wasn't prepared to do anything at that point, but that night, the House of Commons voted 200 to 82 to do nothing, and Prime Minister Trudeau wasn't even in there for the vote. He got up and left. That is the leader of our country. He has little children. I wonder if it would have been reversed really quickly if something had happened to his. I have grandchildren, and I think about them every day, and I can't imagine what the family goes through dealing with this. She belongs behind bars in a facility for offenders. She does not belong in a healing lodge to be on a holiday for a life sentence. That's why I felt compelled, as being in her community, to bring a motion forward from the city of Woodstock, and that motion passed on Thursday night with unanimous consent from our council. And that motion will be going to every municipality in Ontario and across Canada to have this decision reversed, and to tell our wonderful Prime Minister and House of Commons how disgusted we are that we even have to be asking for this to be done. This is not justice. I have to thank so many people for reaching out to me since I put council on notice that I was going to go after this. And everybody is asking, you know, what are we going to do after this? Are we going to have petitions? Are we going to, what can I do to help? Everybody wants to help. And this is across Canada. This is just not here. Everybody wants to help. So I was waiting until the motion passed on Thursday evening, and I was going to use the core of the motion to be an online petition. But I don't want us to be fragmented. I want us to be united, and I want us to be strong. And the stronger our voice, the louder it will be that hopefully this will be overturned. I would like each and every one of you, when you get home today, or if you don't have access to a computer, if you would go to your local library, if you would go somewhere where there is one, there is already an e-petition started at the House of Commons. If you go on in the House of Commons website and you go under e-petitions, it is E1886. It says Terry Lynn McClintock. It was the member of Saskatchewan, which is where the Healing Lodge, where Terry Lynn McClintock is presently, that he started the petition. So I think there's almost 8,000 names on it already. The more support we can give to that, the louder the voice is going to be, and the sooner she'll be back where she belongs. I hope we don't all stop after today. I hope that we continue until justice is served for Tori and her family. Thank you.
Naveed? Yeah? Naveed Singh would like to say something.
Thank you, everyone, and I'm glad that I'm here joining all of you today. I'm not glad that the federal government has made that decision. The last thing any parent would want to see dead child in their hand. And I have two of my own, and my feelings are hurt just because of this decision, and see how the family is feeling just because of this decision. This convicted killer should go back to where she belonged, behind the wires. She should go where she belonged, behind the wires. She has no special treatment for any convicted killer. I don't know, and I don't have in my knowledge that Rodney or his family has any special treatment after this has happened.
That's right.
So, no special treatment for anybody who's convicted killer. She should go back to behind the bars. Thank you all. Thank you, Please, as some other people said, let's not stop here. Let's go all the way until she is where she belongs. Thank you all. Yes. Yes. And Rodney, we're with you every step of the way. Thank you. We're with you, and please, don't let anybody stop you. Nobody can stop us. She has to go where she belongs. Again, she has to go where she belongs. Thank you.